Hello, community. Happy Thursday to all of us. Happy as always to have these community events with all of you. We are very pleased and humbled to have you all here gathered together. Um, I hope your week started well. I hope your Thursday is doing great. And welcome to today's community event. We are pleased to have you here with us today. As the title already gave it away, we're going to look at specifically blockchain and staking. That's the base that we're going to build upon as we progress throughout today's session. And then also understand that these two together are best of both worlds, right? So blockchain obviously representing the technology and staking representing what secures and stabilizes that technology, right? And it's also used as incentive. This is exactly what we're going to discuss today. We're going to dive deep into it and really understand how these two combined are best of both worlds. With that said, there's a lot to be discussed, so let's jump right into today's session. And as always, I want us to understand that, first of all, those that are tuning in for the first time, you're very welcome. We are a very active community. We are very active on Zoom on a daily basis. We're also on Facebook on Wednesdays. We're on Thursdays like today. We're on YouTube. Saturdays and Mondays we are on Twitter Space, and then Fridays and Sundays, these are exclusive sessions for the queens in the industry or in our community, and they also host their sessions on Zoom as well. As you see, we are very active, and we take it even one step further, and we even do daily events, right? And these daily events take place on Twitter. So we do tweet every single day, and this is our daily community activity. Why are we doing this? First of all, is because we lay emphasis on bringing awareness on and educating on the crypto industry. There is a fairly steep learning curve. There's a lot to be learned. A lot of things are changing on a dime, and regulations are still coming in. We follow current events, and then we make sense out of them so that we're on top of it, and we don't become emotional, right? Because this industry, financial industry as a whole, is a very sentiment-driven industry, very emotional driven industry, and if we're not informed and educated, we might fall prey to all of that, right? So we want to be ahead of that. We don't want to be victims of the noise and the distractions around us or on crypto Twitter, but rather we want to be standing on solid foundation, be level-headed and think rationally, take a step back and look at things for what they really are. To do that and achieve that, we need to be informed and educated. This is why we stress so much on daily activities, and one of them is with the tweets. So if you have not yet, I highly encourage us to engage with the tweets simply by liking and retweeting it. And if you have some spare moment, you can also add a comment of something that you really want the others or within the community or outside of the community to learn about and to embrace. Also, what we stress on is we're looking at the industry as an opportunity, right? And the approach we take is a solution-driven approach, right? We identified that in order to progress in this industry, because there are millions of cryptocurrencies being launched on a monthly basis, tens of thousands on a daily basis. So how do you stand out? The only way to stand out is to be part of the solution and not part of the problem, as we will see and highlight as we progress throughout today's session. With all of that said, let's engage. Those who have not yet, Twitter, Killer Whale Survivor, and BULLRUN, all tweets are out. They all come with messages, right? Information, educational information on how we tackle these challenges in the industry. So I highly encourage us to do so for those who have not yet, as it's part of our daily activity and it goes a long way. It's free, doesn't cost anything, and it's very fast to implement. However, it goes a very long way. So once more, welcome community. Let's get to today's session. As always, I see your comments. We'll get to all of them. At the end, as always, right? We won't skip any single one of the comments. We'll address them. So we appreciate your comments. We appreciate your feedbacks. You're all very welcome. We are pleased to have you all here with us today. So, with all of that said, community, there's quite a bit to cover today. So, let's get to the thick of things, right? And as always, we like to start with an overview of the entire market. Just briefly, we're not going to really, I have to refresh this as you see. I'm in disbelief because before this started, like a half an hour before today's session, we were actually up 2%. And now I see we're down 4%. So I had to refresh just to make sure. Um, so as you see, we're down close to 4% for the day. Up for the last 24 hours, we are right at 2.5 trillion in market cap. We saw a rally yesterday, right? And that was literally because the president that is literally bullying people on an economic level, not people, but nations, with these tariffs, has paused. He announced a 90-day pause, and this caused the market to rally for a brief moment before they actually sat down and thought about it. Like, okay, this is just putting a band-aid on it and kicking the can down the road for 3 months. But the problem is not solved. The challenge is still here. So this caused, of course, people to rethink everything, and we're literally almost right back to where we were before the announcement of the president doing a 90-day pause, right, on the tariffs. So this is what's still causing all these uncertainties, and we'll get into more details as we progress. So this is all I want us to look at besides the fear and greed index. Like we said, usually if you see the fear and greed index being so low at 25 as we see right now, it literally is in coordination with the red market, right? So when the market is fearful, usually that indicates that we have a red day. And if the greed index is high, we usually experience FOMO and fear of missing out and a lot of activities, and it's usually green days. So this is all I want us to take away from here. As we progress, we'll come back to this chart later on. So let's just touch on other things as well that also directly affect, for example, Bitcoin, that cause a lot of uncertainty. Keep in mind, this industry is based on sentiment and based on emotions. If you can play on people's emotions usually, and that's what media is for, right? You can really direct, and if you have major influence on social media and platforms, you can really influence and direct the sentiment that you want the community or the society at large to embrace. So anyway, so Michael Saylor, as we know, he has a company known as Strategy. They renamed it, rebranded it from MicroStrategy to Strategy, and they're currently facing close to 6 billion Bitcoin unrealized loss, I should say, unrealized. They haven't sold it yet, right? So it's an unrealized loss. So if they were to sell it today, they would lose 6 billion, right? And this is something that, of course, is causing a lot of fears, because keep in mind, my Strategy is not just some random meme coin, but this is literally the largest regulated and S&P registered listed company, and even the NASDAQ 100 listed companies that are literally purchasing Bitcoin, and that the largest Bitcoin holders in terms of a public company, right? So when this news go around, then of course this would cause a big selling pressure on Bitcoin, and this is not the news that you want to hear, actually, right? As a Bitcoin holder or in the crypto industry. So let's dig deeper into this. Let's make more sense out of this. What really causes or triggers fear out of that statement? Simply because Saylor himself or his auditors, internal auditors, said that they issued a warning, right? That they potentially might have to sell Bitcoin, right? So they issued a warning that to the public, that there might be scenarios where they would have to sell Bitcoin, right? But this doesn't make sense quite yet. So let's understand some more. Let's dig in some more. So back in Q1 this year, Q1 is from January to March, end of March. So Strategy expects to report an annualized unrealized loss, right? Like we said, of 6 billion, right? So far, so good. And this is despite the 1.7 billion tax benefit that they got. So the company has around 8 billion US dollars in debt, right? And they face a huge financial pressure because why? Because 35 million, they're facing 35 million US dollars in annual interest payments. So this is how much they have to pay in interest. Because keep in mind, how does MicroStrategy purchase Bitcoin? They're issuing equity and debt, right? So either stocks or they borrow money to buy Bitcoin. And obviously, they have to make payments, annual payments, and they come to 35 million. In addition to that, they also owe 150 million US dollars in yearly dividends that they have to, they're obligated to pay. They put themselves in that situation, right? Now, here's the trick. Here's the challenge, I should say. Here's the dilemma, right? So it's software business because let's keep in mind, Strategy is a software company turned into Bitcoin purchaser through debts and equities. However, there are software company. So their software business has not been generating enough revenue to support all of these obligations that we just mentioned here. So for the math geniuses already did the math, right? So 35 million plus the 150 million is 185 million annually, right? And their software company is just not generating this type of revenue. And as we know, Bitcoin is also not generating anything from them. It's just sitting there, right? So this is what's causing some cautious, and they put a filing out there and they listed that, right? This is what they mentioned. However, this goes even deeper. So addition to all of what we've just discussed, Strategy also has used Bitcoin as collateral, right? So for loans on several occasions. So if Bitcoin drops below collateral threshold, a margin call, this is such a big word, but it just means that if your collateral drops, you'll be liquidated. That's what it literally means. Liquidated. We all know what happens. This could force potential liquidation, right? We all see this every single day. There are billions of dollars in liquidation, right? We see hundreds of millions in liquidation. There are billion-dollar liquidations. In the stock market, there was like what, in one day, almost $2 trillion in liquidations. So this happens if your collateral goes below because the prices of your asset, underlying asset, are crumbling, right? So this is exactly the reason why, community, and this is what's been causing also a lot of fear in the industry, especially for Bitcoin holders and Bitcoin maxis, right? And as we know, Bitcoin happens to be the largest asset, crypto asset, right, in the industry with, let's see, it has like a over 60% dominance in the industry. And this is why if we, you see here, it has almost 10x, 10 times the market cap of Ethereum, the second largest. It just shows you how much weight Bitcoin is holding. So whatever happens to Bitcoin, it affects the entire industry, right? So this is why this is such a significant news. So let's put that aside, but keep it behind our head, right? Let's keep it in mind, but let's move on to something else. So another thing also that is affecting the industry is that the whole face-to-face or head-to-head with China, US and China, right? Keep in mind, these are the two largest economies, and I have a nice chart. I'll show it as we progress later on in another website. However, for right now, just take my word for it. China is the second largest economy right now, and I don't like that. Don't take my word for it. Actually, don't even take my word for it. Let's just briefly go there. Let's just look at it real quick. Right here. So don't take my word for it. Let's verify. So these are the largest economy based on GDP, gross domestic product. And just to verify what I just said, number one, sitting comfortably with 26, almost 27, 28 trillion is the US, right? And then the second largest economy here comfortably is China with close to 18 trillion. So they have a gap of 10 trillion. So US is really the largest economy based on GDP, right? Gross domestic product. And as we know, that just means the entire output that a country is putting out in terms of goods and services within a specific time period, usually 12 months. So verification done. So we verified. China is the second largest economy, right? So now that we have that, let's go back here. And so they are telling their central banks and they're asking them literally to stop lending or reduce dollar purchases, right? Why is this so significant? The second largest economy in the world is literally telling other central banks to slow down and reduce the dollar purchases. This is what it means, is to reduce purchasing US debt, right? And what does this mean? So all ask state banks, right, in general, not just the central bank, but state banks. So the People's Bank of China is asking state banks to reduce the dollar purchases. Why is this so significant? Because this chart right here, as we speak, China used to be actually the largest US debt purchaser. They used to be the largest. Now they're behind Japan. They gave Japan the torch. So Japan now is holding $1 trillion worth of US debt. Now, this is a game of hot potato. Nobody really right now feels comfortable with nobody. I mean, nations are really wary right now, right? Especially the ones with $1 trillion and 759 billions worth of US debt, because right now, like the economy is happening right now, the tariff wars and all of these uncertainties, a lot of nations that are holding a significant amount of US debt are really wary right now, right? And this is exactly what's happening. So what are we looking at? We see how Japan right now has roughly $1 trillion based on December last year, end of the year. Japan sits at $1 trillion US worth of debt. China is sitting at 760 roughly, right? They've been selling off for the past years. They've been selling off slowly. So does Japan as well, and many other nations. And why is this so significant? Because the sell-off of US debt is, first of all, putting a lot of pressure on the US dollar. It's losing its purchasing power, and also it's causing the interest rate of the bond market to go up. And why is that so bad? Because that's bad because that causes the US itself, their interest payments to be higher. And if the interest rates are high, this means that the debt that the US has to pay back to these individuals, to these nations that borrowed money, lent them money, will have to be paid back at a higher interest rate. That's basically what it means. So this is the situation that the US doesn't want to put themselves in. And this is also one of the reasons why you see this shakeup and all these tariffs and all these back and forth going on that we are experiencing. This is just for us to have an idea of what's going on, right? On a general basis, what's going on in the economy and how does it affect us directly. So now that we understand this, it's time to move on to something else. What just happened yesterday? Officially now, there's a new sheriff in town. He's the new SEC chair, right? Security and Exchange Commissioner, Paul Atkins. He's now officially, since yesterday, he got elected into a chair position to be the chair of the SEC, the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission, right? Why is this such a big deal? It's because this is an individual that is literally pro-crypto, pro-regulation. This is also an individual who literally has experiences in the real world. So they're not just career politicians, but they really have a business themselves. They have a consulting company in the real world. They're well connected, both on Wall Street and in Silicon Valley. He is very well versed with startups, and he also has experience he used to be a also part of the SEC back into early 2000 till 2008. So he's a very well-rounded individual that is pro crypto, right? And this is exactly what this industry needs. This industry needs an individual like that. And not to take my word for it, let's just read what Trump thinks of him, right? So he says that Atkins believes, Trump believes that Atkins in the promise of our is the promise of a robust, innovative capital markets that are responsive to the needs of investors and that provide capital to make our economy the best in the world. Right? These are standard political words. You know, politicians like to make these big statements. However, let's verify what this literally means. Let's cut it down. Basically, all this means is that he believes that Atkins is the individual that will bring back prosperity and make the US economy the best in the world, right? So, like we said, this is an individual who served as an SEC commissioner from 2002 to 2008, and he's going since yesterday. He's now the sitting SEC, right, Security and Exchange chair. So why is all of this so significant? Because he got things done right away, right before he could sit down on his chair comfortably and have his first cup of coffee. The first thing he did is already approved options trading right away. So Ethereum options trading, Ethereum ETFs options trading. You might ask yourself, well, Steve, that's all nice, but how is that important to us? How does that relate to us? We're in the crypto space. How does that relate to us directly? What options trading is, right, in terms of options trading. So the reason why this affects us so much is because we need to understand that what options trading is. For us to understand the impact of this approval that he just made on his first day of a chair as an SEC, let's first of all understand what is options trading. What really is that? To just understand the impact of this, right? So, first of all, like we said, the SEC approves options on spot Ethereum ETF. So the US Security and Exchange Commission has granted regulatory approval, right, for exchanges to list and trade options contract on Ethereum exchange traded funds. So exchanges now can list and trade options contracts on Ethereum exchange traded funds, on the Ethereum ETFs. What does this mean? There'll be a bunch of volume and a bunch of liquidity that is being traded. And this is exactly the beautiful thing about this. So far, there's only been on Bitcoin, but now the options trading are enabled for Ethereum. I said, well, Steve, this still doesn't make much sense, right? So first of all, let's understand what is options then. So options, first of all, are derivatives. That's all we need to know. Let's not overcomplicate this. If you hear options, you know that, okay, options, derivatives, these go hand in hand. They're synonymous, like Siamese twins, right? So options mean derivatives. That's all we need to know. Because now the next question is, okay, how big is the derivatives market? If options are derivatives, how big is this? What are we talking about, right? That's what we want to know. We hear about the numbers. Let's hear. So the derivatives market is, in a word, gigantic, right? It's a beautiful adjective to be used, but let's put some numbers on it. So often estimated at over $1 quadrillion US. So if you hear options, let's go back here. If you hear that the first thing that the SEC Paul Atkins does is he approves options trading on Ethereum ETF, why does he do this? Why is he so eager? He couldn't wait to approve this on his first day of service. And then once this is done, we understand that, okay, options are derivatives. Options are derivatives, right? and they're often used by traders and investment professionals to manage and reduce their risk, right? To hedge. So hedge funds are using that, right? So now we understood that, okay, that's nice, but what do they do? How big is the derivatives market? It's a $1 quadrillion market. So in a nutshell, Ethereum is now exposed to a $1 quadrillion market, allowing Ethereum to be traded on a large scale, bringing both volume and liquidity. You and I both know what happens if Ethereum gets a lot of volume and liquidity. It becomes deflationary, right? So let's leave it at that. Another thing that we need to look at now is, now that we understand all of that, let's look at another thing right now. What I would like us to understand here is that now that we understand that the derivatives market is that big, let's look at a few things. Tokenized treasuries, which are money market funds, which is US bonds. These are the bonds, right? We see here, right? These are tokenized bonds that we saw China just told their state banks not to be purchasing anymore, to slow down. So these are the treasuries, tokenized versions of them, such as BULLRUN. BULLRUN is one of them, issued by Securitize and BlackRock, for example. Now, what are we looking at here is we want to identify where are these tokenized assets like Ethereum is issuing, where are they traded? And most that are in the that have 1 quadrillion market caps, right? They are predominantly, as we see here, on Ethereum. This is very important for us to understand, right? So options trading have been enabled. On the first day of Paul Atkins' service, we looked at how large the derivatives market is. It's a $1 quadrillion market cap and industry. And then we also went a step further to identify where is all these tokenized assets, where is all of these taking place, right? Like we saw here, this is the tokenized version of it. Well, Ethereum predominantly. This is where that takes place. Okay, what's another example of tokenized assets? You might ask yourself. And then we identified that, oh, the most obvious ones are stable coins, right? Those are another tokenized assets. They are tokenized US dollars, for example. And where is that? Predominantly right here again, predominantly on Ethereum. So real world assets, tokenized bonds are on Ethereum. Stable coins are on Ethereum as well. Then these stable coins and real world assets are being traded, and Ethereum itself now are being traded on the derivatives market. And this is our $1 quadrillion market. So now that we understand that, and we need to make some sense out of this. So the largest industry in the world right now, the largest market in the world, let's use this opportunity to look at this again. So the number one largest economy in the world right now, being the US, has roughly, let's round this number up to $28 trillion in GDP. So this is something that is extremely important. And this is why they can play this hardball and throw around tariffs right now, because they know that the largest economy in the world, and the world literally depends on the dollar and its market right now. So, but we saw that nations are wary and slowing down on purchasing US debt. So what gives them such confidence to be able to move with such confidence, right? And this is exactly what Atkins did in his first day, enable Ethereum to be up, to have options trading and futures trading, meaning you can generate a lot of volume and liquidity, bring a lot of liquidity for Ethereum. If Ethereum experiences a lot of liquidity and volume, it becomes deflationary, right? So let's keep this in mind and then take it a step further. Now, while the US is still trying to find out the best way to regulate Ethereum, because Ethereum is the hub of DeFi and how not to, and now they're being more the easing up all the entanglement that Gary Gensler's administration put together. They are enabling Ethereum and DeFi to blossom little by little. So while they're still trying to find the way, PostFinance, right, are posting here. I've put this tweet out here, and this is an old tweet. This is from the beginning of the year, right? As we see here, it's actually from January 16th. So right at the beginning of the third week of the year, they started 2025 highly motivated, right? So we are expanding our crypto services and introducing staking. Don't worry, we'll get into what PostFinance actually is. So for right now, let's just focus on what service that they're expanding to. So they're expanding their crypto services to introduce staking. This will allow our customers to generate passive income by depositing cryptocurrencies. And what specific are they staking, right? This is now where it really gets interesting. So first of all, let's understand who PostFinance actually is. So is this just some random small-time low market cap startup or some random meme coin? No. PostFinance is a Swiss state-owned. So this is owned by the government. It's a bank, right? And it launched Ethereum staking on January 16th. That's what they launched. So they're not here sitting around debating whether Ethereum is a security, staking is secure. No, they're launched already, and you can do that. So how big is PostFinance? PostFinance serves around 2.7 million customers. I know you might be like, oh, that's not much. That's not much at all. Come on, that's not a lot. But if you understand the population of Switzerland, it will make a whole different, there's a whole different thing now, because now you see that Switzerland only has 8.9, less than 9 million in population, right? 8.9 million in population. So if you now come back and look at, okay, there's a 8.9 million population in Switzerland, and 2.7 million out of them are PostFinance clients, customers. So for the math geniuses, already did the math. So that's 1/3. So the best way to put it, roughly every third Swiss resident has a PostFinance account. Every third person you meet on the street potentially has a PostFinance account. That's the best way to put it. So now it makes these 2.7 million customers not look so small anymore, right? So across Switzerland, 2.7 million customers, and they say that they will allow people to stake starting from just 0.1 ETH. Keep in mind, to be a validator, you need at least 32 ETH. And you need to have solid hardware and run 3 softwares. Never lose your internet connection, else you'll lose your ETH. But they're allowing you to just hold 0.1 ETH. It might not tell us much, so let's make sense of 0.1 ETH. What is 0.1 ETH? At current ETH prices at 1,500, 0.1 ETH is only 150. So 150, if you have $150 right now, you can start your staking journey with PostFinance. How beautiful is this? How beautiful is this? So the Swiss, as usual, we already discussed this many times. The government itself is exclusively using Ethereum blockchain, and also the Swiss National Bank, also they're using Ethereum blockchain, and even in Switzerland in general, they're heavily using the Ethereum blockchain technology in various aspects, right? So anyway, back to this. So Swiss PostFinance, which is state-owned, with 1/3 of the population having a PostFinance account, is now allowing people to stake their ETH as little as $150 worth of ETH. This is significant, right? So PostFinance, a crypto-friendly retail bank, fully owned by the Swiss government. See, this is the beautiful thing about it. This is not some privately owned company like Strategy that is debt driven and collecting debt to purchase Bitcoin. This is fully owned by the Swiss government, and they are fully into Ethereum. So they're offering ETH staking to their 2.7 million customers. This is not some public companies by some Ethereum maxi. This is a fully owned, Swiss government-owned bank that is going all in on Ethereum and offering staking. Let that sink in. So now, what does all this mean to us? How does that relate to us? Let's look at this even further. So keep in mind what we're discussing here. We're discussing blockchain and staking, right? And how these are the best of both worlds. Blockchain is a technology, and staking enables, or rather enables the network that is offering staking to be stable and also to be secured. Because the more tokens are being staked within an ecosystem, the more stable that ecosystem is and the more secure it is. It's about stability and security. So the Swiss understand that if we want this ecosystem, Ethereum ecosystem, to be solid, what we need to be part of a solution. How are we part of a solution? Let's enable staking, and let's allow our residents in Switzerland to be able to participate in this decentralized system, so that we offer staking. So imagine 2.7 million individuals staking at least 150 ETH each and earning rewards to it. Let's look at it. So you stake and receive rewards. And this is, again, not some public company that is a Ethereum maxi, but this is a fully owned by the Swiss government. It's a bank owned by the Swiss government. They're offering staking in an easy way to generate additional income with your Ethereum, right? It's so simple. So what you do, you deposit your coins. At least you have to have them sit there for at least 3 months. And then you get regular staking rewards in process. So they let you, we let you do this in a secure environment, and all you need is 0.1 ETH, $150, right? I don't want YouTube to give me any trouble with this. I'm not going, because it has music in the background, so I don't want to play this to get in trouble. I'm going to mute it, however, and then but if I mute it, you won't see what it does. You won't hear what they do. So I encourage you, let me do this. I'm copying this and putting it in the chat so that you can tune in and listen in how this works. It's amazing. State-owned bank issuing Ethereum staking, how encouraging its residents to participate in securing and stabilizing Ethereum. How amazing is that, right? So now this is a very interesting part of it. So they tell you, okay, this is how you earn your regular rewards in ETH. So stake your 0.1 ETH, $150 roughly, receive your staking rewards. You have to, at least minimum term is 3 months. And then there's an automatic extension possible. So you can even forget about it. So that means you compound. Once you receive your rewards, you can set it up that it compounds it for you on a 3-month basis. So every 3 months, your rewards are being compounded in Ethereum. How amazing is that? And what really caught my attention is you do all this at your fingertip. It's an application you download. It's a PostFinance app, right? You can, if you're a iPhone holder, you do it on Apple Store, or you're a Google Play, Android, you do it on Google Play. So you download it, and then what you do is you pick ETH, and then you buy it straight from your phone. And then once you purchased it, you stake it. You go right here, you hit stake, right? And then you come over here. It will bring you to this different window. So you log in with your username or e-finance number, PostFinance number. You put in your password, or you can just click on this QR code, and it logs you in through your verifications, right? And credentials. This is the level that the Swiss already are. This is the level that Hong Kong already is, and many other nations that are so progressive and so pro crypto and so pro Ethereum that already went way ahead and are offering staking, Ethereum staking ready to the public, right? So, and they're making it so easy for everybody to just participate in. And this is the future of finance. This is exactly what we're talking about, that will come full circle. We'll come full circle on this. So what are we saying with all of this, community? What are we talking about? What's the point of today? We need to highlight, we're highlighting that there's a difference between the blockchain, which is a technology, and then staking, which serves to incentivize the individuals, the participants, to secure and bring stability to the network. And the Swiss already are doing that through their government-owned bank and enabling their residents and citizens to participate in securing and stabilizing Ethereum by offering staking. Now, this is not just PostFinance doing this. Let's look at what Standard Chartered and OKX are doing. Look at what they're doing. They're using tokenized assets, money market funds, which are tokenized T-bills, bonds, like BULLRUN, for example, and they're using that as collateral. Does this sound familiar? Haven't we seen this somewhere before? So OKX is one of the largest centralized exchanges, and Standard Chartered is one of the largest banks in England. They launched their own institution, their own tokenized money market fund, and they want to use the tokenized money market fund as collateral. And where they're doing all of this? Nowhere else than Dubai. And Dubai's regulators, known as DVAR, so Dubai's virtual asset regulators, this is the US equivalent, Dubai equivalent of the SEC, right? The Security and Exchange Commission. These are the overseers of financial affairs, right? So they're already working directly with the Dubai financial authorities to issue tokenized money market funds, which are tokenized debts, bonds. And then once they issue these tokenized bonds, they now go a step further and use these bonds as collateral so that you can get what? Into the derivatives market, right? So that you can jump headfirst into the derivatives market. And Standard Chartered is a bank, so obviously they are, one of their products is to issue trades and exchange. OKX is an exchange. They're here to issue. Their Standard Chartered will be giving you the funds, the liquidity that you use on OKX exchange to do your derivatives trading. So this is exactly what they're doing together. So they're using crypto assets and tokenized money market funds, which are bonds, tokenized bonds, and then they're using them as collateral, right? So you remember how we always said that now Standard Chartered, many may not even know this name or OKX, but we all know what JP Morgan is, right? We all know JP Morgan. Remember what we always used to say, community, that you'll see that once the market leaders are setting the tone, the smaller banks are going to follow along. What Standard Chartered is doing with OKX, JP Morgan and BlackRock have been doing this since 2023. So they've been already doing it for over 1.5 years. And now the smaller banks are now following suit because they're following where the money is, they're following where the liquidity is, where the action takes place. And they're copy pasting exactly what JP Morgan and BlackRock are doing. JP Morgan also is using tokenized BlackRock shares, which are money markets, and they're using it as what? As collateral, right? This is what they're doing. So BlackRock say that their tokenization of money market fund as collateral is going to revolutionize the whole financial space. Now, why is this so important? Is because where they're doing it, where they're doing this, right? They're doing it on the Ethereum blockchain, of course. So JP Morgan has a private blockchain, but they're using Ethereum, right? They're on the for the Onyx blockchain, and they have a network there. They have their own tokenized collateral network. So they have an entire infrastructure on Ethereum. JP Morgan does. And they are using BlackRock's tokenized shares, which are money market funds, like we just read Standard Chartered are doing also. And they just copied what JP Morgan and BlackRock are doing on Ethereum. So the tokens were then transferred to Barclays for what? Collateral, for over-the-counter derivatives market. Do we see where this is heading? The first action that Atkins did as a Security and Exchange Commissioner, as a chair, is enable Ethereum options trading. Options trading is synonymous with derivatives. Derivatives are a $1 quadrillion industry. On the Ethereum blockchain, JP Morgan and BlackRock already have tokenized collateral networks so that these tokenized assets can then be used as collateral for the derivatives market. Do we see that? Now, we've seen Standard Chartered, OKX, JP Morgan, BlackRock, but wait, there is more. So UBS is here as well. As we know, UBS is by far the largest and most prestigious bank in the entire in Europe, in the entire Euro EU region, right? And they're really head to head with the likes of BlackRock and JP Morgan. And what sets UBS apart is that they do what JP Morgan and BlackRock do together. UBS does that on their own. They offer a 360 service on their own. They have asset managing services like BlackRock, but they also happen to be a bank like JP Morgan. So where JP Morgan has to team up with BlackRock, UBS does it on its own. That's exactly how powerful this bank is. So let's look at what they are doing. They're also issuing tokenized US denominated money market fund, which is US bonds, right? US debt. So they're issuing tokenized US debt. Where are they doing this? They're using, of course, Ethereum. Ethereum is the standard. This is where all the global and future finance is being built on top. And if these large banks, leading banks like JP Morgan, UBS, and BlackRock are choosing Ethereum, obviously smaller banks like Chartered Standard and OKX are going to use it as well. Now, keep in mind, this was back on November 1st. So this is barely 5 months ago. They issued their own tokenized money market funds as well on Ethereum. Why? Same thing. They're using it as collateral, of course. And we see here like BULLRUN they're working together with BlackRock also, all of them. And they're using it as the money market fund for the derivatives market as well. So let's understand that. Now that we understand that, let's understand staking much more. Let's understand the impact of staking. Now we understand what blockchain technology is. It is a digital ledger technology used to record transactions on a public ledger. So there is transparency. There is no need for audits like Ernst & Young, PwC, Deloitte, and the Big Four in general. You can just go to Etherscan like we are about to do right now, and then you can verify all these things by yourself. So it's not about trust. You can verify things and replace that with trust altogether. So let's now understand what is actually staking. What are the largest stakers in the entire industry? Who has the most staked? Right, like which ecosystem, from Ethereum, Solana, Binance, Sui, and so on and so forth. For the sake of time, let's limit this to the top 10. Let's look at the top 10 most staked assets. Obviously, Bitcoin is being canceled out. Bitcoin is not a proof of stake blockchain. It's a proof of work. So obviously, this is why if you focus on this line right here, you see it's a 0, right? 0.9. So you can't stake Bitcoin. There are some services out there, but they're all running on Ethereum blockchain that are offering Bitcoin staking services on Ethereum or using the proof of stake consensus. So let's just focus on the top 10 outside of Bitcoin that are actually on a proof of stake consensus. So let's just focus on this line right here, staking ratio. So just to make things clear and for us to be on the same page, what are we looking at? We're looking at the percentage of eligible tokens that are currently staked or being staked, right? Or delegated to the network to stake on others' behalf, like PostFinance is the delegator, right? You delegate your ETH to PostFinance, like we saw, and they are staking it on your behalf and giving you ETH every 3 months. But nonetheless, we're looking at how many tokens are currently being staked on these various different cryptocurrencies. So we see here the first one is Ethereum. It's 28% of Ethereum is being staked right now, right? As we see here, right? 28% of Ethereum is being staked. As Solana, it has a 64% of Solana is being staked. Binance, we know that CZ holds majority of Binance. Obviously, that's he's the founder, so he holds majority of it. But nonetheless, that removed, if you remove CZ's stake, you realize that only 20% of Binance is being staked. Now, Sui is 76%. Let's round it up to 77. So Sui has 77% of its supply, current supply staked. We'll come back to this. This number is the largest so far. And then we see Cardano at 60, Tron at 42, Hyperliquid at 42, and so on and so forth, right? And then 51 is Avalanche, and then Aptos, 75. Let's say 76. So Aptos and Sui are on par. They are the highest. So let's say 76, right? 76% of Aptos and Sui are being staked. Let's keep this number in mind, 76 and 77 respectively. Why is this so significant? Because in a proof of stake consensus, remember, staking plays a major role. Why? Because the more your token is being staked, the more stable your token is and the more secure your token is, your ecosystem is. So staking is at the core of all of this. It's very important. So amongst all the proof of stake blockchains, and you realize there's no token here. These are all coins, meaning these are all blockchains here. The top 10, these are all blockchains. You don't see any applications here. These are all full-blown blockchains. And the largest one right now is at 76, right? Why are we highlighting this? Because let's compare with us. How much are we staked? So if you come to Etherscan as usual, this you can verify everything. So this is BULLRUN. This is our token, right? BULLRUN token. And let's look at how much as a small community with barely 1.4 million in market cap. Let's come here and look. Let's just put this into perspective. Let me refresh it because it shows that we are 2,000. One Boran is 2,100. So let me refresh it. So right now you see that we are at 1.36 in market cap, 1.36 million market cap, and at 466,000 in liquidity, right? This is just to put this in perspective. Now that we know that, let's now come and look at how much is staked right now. Out of our supply, and we started with that 1 million in total supply, 1 million. And right now we are at 962. You might ask yourself, why didn't you just say you had 1 million supply? As a staking platform, as a utility token with a staking platform, you want to be deflationary, if not scarce. We took it to the highest level and are scarce. So our supply is scarce. So it started at 1 million, but now we already burned and removed from the total supply over 37,000 tokens. This is what you want for a staking platform. We'll get into more details why. But for now, right now, let's focus on how much of our supply is staked. 72.5%. So this means that only Aptos and Sui are ahead of us, making us the third. We would be in the top 10 and we'll be the third most staked cryptocurrency in the world, in the entire industry. Right now, as we speak, we are the third most staked cryptocurrency. We looked at the top 10, right? And the highest numbers than ours are Aptos and Sui. Now, keep in mind, we have a supply that keeps shrinking because we have a staking platform. And our supply, there's over 72% are staked right now. The community is staking 72.5% of the total supply, which is almost 700,000 BRL tokens. Keep this in mind, 72.5% as we speak, making us the third most staked cryptocurrency in the space. Keep in mind, BULLRUN is not a blockchain. We are a token, an application, a utility token on Ethereum. We are competing with blockchains here. We are comparing ourselves, I should say, not competing, comparing ourselves with blockchains here. These are full-blown blockchains like Ethereum, Solana, Binance, Sui, Cardano. These are top blockchains. And we would be, if we were on this list right now, we would be the third most staked in the entire industry among blockchains. So this alone should tell us how secure and stable our ecosystem is, for one, and how much trust the community has in the token, in the ecosystem, right? So with that said, let's look at the top. What is Sui? What is Aptos, right? We need to understand something. Yes, it looks like they're really, they have a high staking percentage, right? But let's look at the bottom of it. Let's look at the fundamentals. Let's look at the tokenomics. Both of Sui and Aptos are proof of stake networks. So let's analyze it. Let's look at some things. So if we come down here, we'll realize that Sui is sitting as the 18th largest cryptocurrency, and it's a blockchain, like we say. So let's look at some numbers here. Let's come here and then first of all understand what's their total max supply. So they have a maximum supply of 10 billion, right? However, only 3.2 billion is in circulation. What does this mean? For us to understand what this means, we have to come up here to token unlocks, right? So when we come to token unlocks, the picture will be much more clearer now. You see here, the circulating supply is 3.24, right? And we see that number right here. That's 32%, 32.5% are unlocked right now. So these are in circulation. What does this mean? This means that the remaining almost 7 billion, 6.75 to be exact, or 67.5% are locked, meaning that this is causing inflation. They are on an unlock schedule. And let's look at that unlock schedule. So this is today. And you see how the numbers, the supply just keeps increasing until it will hit eventually 10 billion. Because that's how much supply they have. So as time passes, their supply is increasing. For a staking platform, this is not what you want to stake. You don't want to stake a token or a coin that keeps increasing in value, right? In supply, supply keeps increasing. And why would you want to stake a token which supply keeps increasing over time? So right now, Sui, their circulating supply is only 32% of their total supply. This is the difference between this and, like we just looked at, BULLRUN, right? BULLRUN has the entire supply is out already. There is no minting new or bringing in new tokens into circulation. The 100% of the supply is already out. As a matter of fact, the supply keeps shrinking. You see the difference here. So yes, right now 76% of SUI is staked. However, you see how their supply is still over 67% of their supply, almost 68% of their supply is still coming out. And you see here on their schedule, unlock schedule. So by 2030, they'll be getting close to 5 billion in supply, from 3.2 billion to 5 billion. So the supply increases over time versus BULLRUN token decreases over time from total supply. That's the major difference. So let's go to another one. Let's look at another one. Which one was the other one? We looked at Aptos, right? Aptos. So now let's look at Aptos. Aptos is also 75%. So let's look at Aptos here. Let's make some sense out of this. So if we go and look at Aptos, let's scroll down all the way to 45. And then we'll see Aptos somewhere here. Where is Aptos? Aptos at 32. Aptos. So let's click at Aptos. It's the 32nd largest blockchain right now, based on market cap. So if we look at Aptos, Aptos is completely different. Aptos, first of all, has unlimited supply. They have unlimited. So they keep minting unlimited supply. They don't have a cap. They're not deflationary. They're inflationary, actually. And if we go to the token unlock, we can even gather even more information. And if we see here where the token supplies went, investors 13%, and then core contributors 19%, and then foundation gets 16%, and then community has 51%. So 49% just went, half of the supply just went to the early investors, the core contributors, and the foundation. And then the remaining half went to the community, they say, as staking rewards. And then if you see here, out of the 51%, 47 are locked, making it to be like there's only 3% in circulation right now. So actually, there's only 40% roughly that are unlocked in circulation. And there's another half that are still coming, and they have an unlimited supply. And it's a staking platform. So this just shows you that this is inflationary. This is causing so much inflation. What do we know about inflation? What have we learned about inflation? There's a saying that goes like, the pictures speak more than 1,000 words. So needless for me to say anything, this chart right here, this picture right here is speaking on our behalf, right? We know what happens if you let inflation take deep roots in your monetary system. The dollar is a prime example here. You see how you lose your purchasing power. Inflation is literally depreciating the purchasing power. Inflation works against you. So what happens here with Aptos and SUI is they're literally not part of the solution, but they're literally taking the existing deflationary debt-driven monetary system in the traditional world and then copy pasting it on the blockchain. But they didn't solve the inflation challenge. Actually, they are inflationary. And for a staking platform, this is not what you want. But again, don't take my word for it. Let's look at what happens if your staking platform is inflationary. And we're not picking on any projects here. Let's set that straight. We're just making examples. So the best example is to always don't pick on the weak ones. Pick the best, the strongest, the most popular, right? Don't be a bully. Go against a weak person. Go and take the biggest person you can find and then make example of them, right? So to do that, we have to come to Aave. Aave is the biggest and the baddest, right? Again, don't take my word for it. Let's come over here and verify. So this is DeFi Llama. This lists applications based on the total value locked, right? How much liquidity they have, how much assets that they hold. And we picked the biggest and the baddest, 1,000-pound gorilla, which is Aave, right? So the best of the best. This is the biggest application with the most liquidity, with the best use case. It's a lending platform, right? This is not just some random meme coin that just launched last weekend. This is a well-established, the number one top application, Aave. So now that we say that, let's come back here. So Aave has amazing utilities, great concept, everything. However, if it comes to the tokenomics and fundamentals, we quickly realize that they have a staking platform that is also causing inflation. And let's look at this together. If you come down here, you can copy this address, right? So let's go to this address. Best way to do it, you come to Explorer, and then you go to Etherscan. Let's press Etherscan. This is the digital ledger technology. This is blockchain. You can verify things. So if you scroll down here and then you go to holders, and then you'll realize the very first wallet, number one wallet here, is their staked Aave. So you can see how much Aave is being staked right now. So how is the largest application in the entire industry only has a 17, let's even give them 18. Let's call it 18% staked. Why is the staking of Aave so low? Why are not more people staking Aave? This is the best application utility token in the entire industry. This is the largest lending platform in the space with the most liquidity, total locked value in the industry. But why are people not staking it? It's because your utility doesn't matter if your fundamentals and your mechanisms and your tokenomics are weak. It doesn't matter, right? Because a smart money is fearful. You don't want to stake a token that is causing inflation. So this is an example of what happens to a token that has a proof of stake network, that has a staking platform, and that is causing inflation, like we saw with Aptos and Sui, right? Aptos and Sui are about to experience a rude awakening because their stakers right now will be forced to unstake, and their staking percentage will obviously decrease because their token is causing inflation. And if you want to stake, you don't want to stake something that is causing more inflation, adding more supply in the mid to long term. This is exactly the challenge. One of the challenges, the 4 challenges we're facing in the industry: inflation, lack of liquidity, unsustainable staking distributions, and inefficient use of volume. So now that we see that there's 18%, less than 18% staked on Aave, another thing that we need to understand is they have allocated a certain amount to be staked, and this amount is being reduced as well. And if it runs out, there won't be any staking distributions either. So this is why the bottom line is that, yes, even though we see these with high percentage today, in a few months or in a year, this percentage of 77 is going to shrink dramatically because people will be forced to unstake and cash out because they're causing inflation, like we just saw. They have an unlock schedule that increases the supply every few months, right? Multiple times a year. And this is exactly what you don't want in a staking platform. So all this considered, as we speak today, as it stands today, we are the 3rd most staked as cryptocurrency in the entire industry. And we are comparing not with apples with apples. We're not comparing ourselves with other staking platforms that are tokens or community tokens. They're not even on this list. We have to compare ourselves with established blockchains. And we would be on this list, we'll be on the 3rd. And if we look again next year, when a lot of unlocks happened on Sui and Aptos, it will go below and will be eventually our aim is to become the most staked cryptocurrency in the entire space. So we only have two blockchains ahead of us as we speak, and we haven't even gone to the bull cycle yet. So this is just to show you that. So another thing that we need to now, let's close out with this, community. What's the takeaway of this? What's the takeaway? Let's bring this point home. Ethereum, what is Ethereum and how does it work? Let's understand something. And this is how we're going to wrap up this session. So Ethereum, like we said, is a decentralized global, it's a software platform. And it's powered by the blockchain technology, like we just saw. You can verify, it's a digital ledger technology. You can just go to Etherscan and verify everything right in front of us, right? So it is most commonly known by investors for its native cryptocurrency ETH. And by this ETH, developers use it in the blockchain and decentralized finance application to develop these DeFi applications, right? So it's a software using the digital ledger technology, and you can develop these DeFi applications on top of it. Like we discussed many times, it's literally the App Store or the Google Play that you can build applications on. So what's the point we're trying to make here? So anyone can use Ethereum, anyone. It's open source. All you need is your MetaMask wallet, and you can connect to various decentralized applications like Uniswap, Aave, so on and so forth, or our BULLRUN staking platform as well. So it's designed to be scalable, programmable, secure, and decentralized. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So to create any secured digital technology, right? So its token is designed to pay for work done supporting blockchain. This is what staking comes in. If you stake, you get incentivized, you get paid. Because what? You put in your tokens at stake by securing and stabilizing the network. So obviously you get paid for your work that you're doing. And this is the proof of stake network, is if you stake, you get paid because you're supporting the blockchain or the ecosystem. Like in our case, you'll be supporting the security and the stability of BULLRUN if you stake. So participants can also use it to pay for goods and services. So what are we finding out here? Ethereum is a technology, right? It's a blockchain technology. It's a software platform. At the same time, it's also an asset, a utility that you can use to pay, and you're being paid for supporting the blockchain. And also, in addition, you can use it also to pay for your goods and services as well. So it's an asset, it's a technology, and it gives you incentives for supporting the ecosystem as well. That's what Ethereum is. Now, let's compare it with another technology that we are very familiar with and actually using right now. This technology is known as the internet, right? What is the internet? It's a technology as well. So it's a global computer network providing a variety of information and communication facilities, right? And consisting of interconnected networks using standardized communication protocols. That's it. You can't invest in the internet. You can't buy internet. You can't stake it. Using it doesn't give you incentives. You can't pay with internet. It's just the internet. It's just the technology. I hope you get the idea where we're heading with this. Ethereum is not just the internet, like the internet, the technology, but Ethereum is a software. It's a software platform, and it's powered by the digital ledger technology, also on the blockchain technology, and it's using ETH. And this ETH, you get paid by ETH for supporting the network, or you can use it also to pay for your goods and services. So it's an asset, it's a technology, and it's used as incentive for supporting the network. Do we see where we're heading with this? You couldn't invest in the internet in the early 90s. You couldn't buy the internet. You couldn't pay with the internet. And the internet didn't increase in value the more people adopted it. And you couldn't do all of that. But now we are at the crossroad where Ethereum is both an asset and the technology. What you couldn't do with the internet 30 years ago, now you can do it with Ethereum at our present time. You can build on it as a developer. You can use it for payment. You can earn it for staking and stabilizing the network. You get the idea. And this is what many people still don't understand. Besides, this is why you see, let's go back to them. This is why you see the Swiss are so eager to enable staking, right? This is why you see them so eager to provide Ethereum staking. Why do you think a fully owned bank by the Swiss government, PostFinance, is offering Ethereum staking to its 2.7 million customers? Why do you think that is? Because they understand, the government of Switzerland understands that the impact and the power and the benefit and the future of Ethereum technology, they see it, and they want their residents and citizens to be part of it because it's in their own good. They're the ones actually acting as the validator. The Swiss government is offering their citizens to stake, and they're taking all the risk. They're building all the infrastructure. This is the future. The Swiss are just the fast movers. This will be normal standard. And if the US, like they say, they want to be the global leaders in crypto, they would have to at least have this system as well and offer their residents, their citizens. And the US alone, they don't have 2.7 million customers. The US is the largest economy in the world. So imagine when finally all of this is being enabled. Imagine when JP Morgan's clients, BlackRock's clients, Standard Chartered, UBS, all of these are being unleashed now on Ethereum. Imagine what the impact is going to be. So when we look at the market community and we see the bloodbath and we see what's happening, let's be level-headed. Let's not hit the panic button. Let's not lose our mind. Let's not lose our cool. Let's look at the big picture like we've been looking at for the past 1.5 hours and realize the opportunity that we have and appreciate the platform that we have that is based on solutions, that is based on fundamentals, not on speculation, price speculation, hype, and wishful thinking, but is based on solid fundamentals, on a problem-solving approach, and has a purpose and is part of a solution. What are the 4 challenges we are facing right now in this industry? Is inflation, lack of liquidity, unsustainable staking distributions, and inefficient use of volume. All of these challenges using this blockchain technology deployed on Ethereum blockchain are being addressed right here through mechanisms, smart contracts, tokenomics, all of it, based on fundamentals, not based on hype, not based on wishful thinking, not based on speculation, but based on solid fundamentals, based on real world problems and challenges we are faced with. Not today, not since last year, but for decades. Inflation is a real challenge. And this is why all these tariff wars are taking place in the first place. So why wait 50 years or 250 years to solve a challenge that has been existing for more than centuries? So this is why you need to, first of all, understand your industry that you're in, the crypto industry. Embrace it. This is why we do daily free educational session. We could have monetized this and charged fees for this, right? This is free information. We're here every day on Zoom. We hear every Saturday and Monday on Twitter Space. The Queens are here every Friday and Sunday, and then Wednesdays is Facebook, and we go on and on. And we do this every day, throughout the week, throughout the month, all year long, consistently, right? This is what this industry needs. It needs a community that is passionate about the blockchain technology and understands and embraces the technology, just like the Swiss government did, and is sharing it with their residents and citizens, just like UBS did, just like BlackRock and JP Morgan. They're not worried about the price fluctuation. That is irrelevant. What they're focusing on are the fundamentals, the infrastructures that are being built on the solutions that that Ethereum is bringing on the table. So in the short term, it looks like, oh, price action is bad. However, in the mid to long term, the fundamentals, the infrastructures that are being built on Ethereum are going to set Ethereum blockchain apart. And you don't just want to be another cryptocurrency built on Ethereum. You want to be part of the solution and address these challenges, so that once this volume comes, once this liquidity comes, is your ecosystem ready, equipped, has the right smart contracts, mechanisms, tokenomics, fundamentals in place to retain your liquidity? Like here, reduce your supply by addressing inflation and have a sustainable staking distributions without causing inflation, like we just looked at examples of Sui and Aptos, or even Aave, the #1 lending platform and application in the entire industry, but they still only have less than 18% staked. So we as a small community have not gone through a bull cycle. We already have over 72% staked of the total supply. This just shows you that we have a system that has a track record. We've been around for 2 years, more than 2 years, and we have a proof of concept. So obviously it works. It works. So all we need to do, community, the heavy lifting is done already. So all we need to do is what we've been doing all along, to bring awareness to our ecosystem. How are we retaining liquidity? Multiple ways. The obvious one is obviously through the transaction. 3% goes towards liquidity. However, we take it a step further. We put aside 10%, not for the devs or not for whatever, for the early investors. No, this simply serves to do two things. Just do buybacks and keep staking. Buybacks and keep staking without taking any debt or any loans or issuing any of shares or all of that. No, it's a smart contract that just keeps buying back and restaking. That's all it does. And then another thing is our NFT booster. So if you decide to stake, if you want to stake and receive 100% of your USDC distributions, you need these boosters. And the revenue generated from these boosters are being added into the liquidity, right? So it sustains a healthy liquidity. And then finally, we as community members, we can do the same thing like this is doing. We can use the USDC that we receive to do the same, to buy back and restake. As we're doing this, what is happening? We're retaining liquidity, the supply keeps shrinking, the USDC distributions keep piling up, and we're using our volume efficiently to keep this ecosystem efficient and sustainable. One thing I don't want us to miss out here. So we talk about USDC distributions. So if we come on Etherscan, you can verify. You're curious about, okay, how much USDC is locked in the smart contract? This is a smart contract. You see it here. It's a contract. It's a staking contract. And if you come here, you can see how much USDC has been already locked for those who stake BRL. So far, there's 7,000 USDC locked up here. This is accumulated through, like we said, just simply trading volume. So the more this platform is being used and traded, the more USDC is being accumulated for those who are staking. So you see that we have a system that is sustainable and efficient. The more adaptation it experiences, the more liquidity it gets, the more USDC for the stakers, and the supply also keeps shrinking as well, right? Like we see here, we started with 1,037,000 already removed from the total supply, right? So as time passes and the more trades and volumes are passing, the scarcer the BRL token becomes, the more liquid it becomes, and the more USDC for the stakers that get. And this is exactly what we are about, based on fundamentals, tokenomics mechanisms, and solving real world challenges in the space. Those who focused on solving challenges are the current market in the 90s, in the early 90s, are today's market leaders. So when we are focusing from day one to solve real world crypto challenges today, our aim is to become the future market leaders in the industry. And as we saw, one of our aims is to become one of the most staked token in the industry. We're already sitting comfortably at number 3. And as we see, as time passes and the two ahead of us are extremely inflationary. So their staking supply is going to, staking percentage is guaranteed to reduce, right? And we'll be able to take on the number 1 most staked cryptocurrency in the space, right? So we're not basing things on hype and wishful thinking, but based on strong fundamentals, and that's what gets us there. And a strong community that is informed and educated. That's what gets us there, right? So with that said, community, let me come back to you so we can go through your comments, and then we can call it a session for today. We don't want to go overboard with time. So let's come over here. And then go through your comments. And before we go to your comments, let's just summarize this. Blockchain and staking, best of both worlds. That was the message for today, right? So if you use the digital ledger technology, which is the latest technology that we have, and you implement staking the right way, which is the core element to secure and stabilize the network, the ecosystem, your token, these are two of the best worlds. This is the comparison that we made. The internet is just that. It is the technology. That's it. You can't stake it. You can purchase things with it. You can borrow against it. You can lend it out. But Ethereum is both the internet and some more, and it's an asset. You can borrow against it. You can stake it and earn rewards. You can, and the more it's being adopted, the more deflationary it gets, and so on and so forth, right? This is what you want as a layer 1 blockchain. And then we're building on top of that solid infrastructure, Ethereum, and build Boran ecosystem on top of it, that it goes beyond deflationary and is literally scarce. And our staking platform doesn't cause inflation either, like we just saw, but is part of the solution. So that's the takeaway of today, is that a blockchain technology on the proof of stake network needs to have a staking platform that is literally and this is why it's very important. And like we said, we didn't pick on these projects. We're not picking on any projects. These are all extremely well driven and very utility driven tokens. We personally use Aave and Uniswap and all of them. It's not about bashing any tokens, but just to make examples of the challenges that we are faced with in the industry and how these challenges need to be addressed for us to have an ecosystem, a DeFi platform that is solution focused and have work in the best interest of the community, right? That are helping the community. And also examples that we made that certain countries, regions already embraced Ethereum staking, for example, and are allowing the residents and citizens to fully be part of the staking ecosystem, right? And allowing the citizens and residents to earn passive income, so to speak, by staking and securing the Ethereum platform. And this is exactly what's going to happen all over the world, on all continents, and this is the future. And this is what we need to understand, and this is the takeaway of all of this. So with that said, let's get to the comments. Brother Ernest says, waiting. I hope that it was worthwhile, King Ernest. We have Queen Val says, to all the members tuning in for the first time, welcome and feel free to join our Telegram communities, our Boran token. So those who have not joined the Telegram group yet, thank you, Queen Val, for putting out the link for the Boran. And then we have Killer Whale as well, and then we have Survivor here as well. So feel free to join our Telegram groups, even if it's just to be part of the movement or to tune into these sessions. You're very, very welcome to do so. Then we have Queen Cynthia says, greetings, Boran live community. It is an honor to attend these carefully planned sessions with our very own dev, Mr. Steve. It's always a pleasure to see you in the community, Queen Cynthia. Thank you for your feedback and your well wishes. We have Queen Mel says, greetings, family, greetings, our developer. Happy Thursday, everyone. Happy Thursday back to you too, Queen Mel. It's always a pleasure to see you in the community. We are glad that you're able to participate today. Then we have Queen Kube, hello Boran family, our brother Steve, and our Queen Mother Winner. We can't wait to hear what today's topic is all about. As usual, I know it's power-packed. Thank you so much for your feedback, Queen Kube. I hope that you are able to take away something from today's session and that we can leave this session encouraged and uplifted and understand what's going on around us so that we're not carried away by all the emotions and sentiments that we're being bombarded with. Then we have Queen Aloshi says, very eager to be educated and informed at this crucial moment in time. Very, very true, right? Thanks, Dev Steve and Queen Mom, for your commitment towards our success. The success is not achieved without the entire community, including yourself, obviously, Queen Aloshi. It's a community effort, right? So it's all of our commitment that is pushing us forward and making us succeed. No man, no woman, no queen, no king can do this on their own single-handedly. We are no island on our own, but we're doing it as a collective, as a community. And everybody's chipping in to their best abilities, right? And we are just part of the bigger puzzle. But we appreciate your encouraging and well wishes, Queen Aloshi. We have Queen Kenole says, looking forward to get enlightened today. I hope, Queen, first of all, Queen Kenole, we appreciate you for participating consistently, and we hope that you are able to take away something from today. King Ernest says, greetings, my esteemed Boran family, greetings, Brother Steve, and our Queen Mother. We thank God for yet another power-packed and enlightening session. Thank you for your feedback. We're always pleased to see you, King Ernest, in the community. We're glad that you took the time to participate in today's community event. And then we have none other than our great brother, Theo. Greetings, my great brother Steve, dearest great Queen Mama Wino, and my awesome BRL family. Looking forward to hearing our professor share his wisdom regarding blockchain and staking. Thanks, great one. We appreciate you too, our great brother Theo. I hope you and yours are doing fantastic. We are always very humbled to see you here as well. We're glad that you're able to participate. Queen Val says, happy Thursday to you all, Bull Runners. Can't wait for today's session. Happy Thursday right back to you too, Queen Val, and I hope that you and yours are doing great. We have Queen Patricia saying, good evening, family, and evening to our developer and teacher. Thank you, Steve, for your dedication and commitment week in, week out. Stay blessed and protected always. Thank you so much for your well wishes. Very much appreciated. We are all, like we said, in this together, including yourself, your leadership, your commitment, your consistency in just participating in these events, in our daily tweets that we tweeting events that we have are very, very important, and we all play a major role in all of this. We appreciate you very much, Queen Patricia. So Queen Louisa says, Thursday greetings. Thursday greetings, community. We are all blessed, community, to be empowered and educated every day. Thank you to our mentor, teacher, and leader, Brother Steve. Thank you so much, Queen Louise. I hope that you're able to take away something from today's session. You are very, very much appreciated as well. And we appreciate your contributions, your leadership as well, very, very much. We have Queen Beatrice says, good evening, Boran community. Greetings to our Queen Mother Wino and our Professor Brother Steve. We are here again to be educated, informed, and inspired by our own. Thank you for today's session. Thank you as well, Queen Beatrice, for participating, engaging in today's session. You made it happen, you made it lively, and your contribution and participation goes a very, very long way as well. Then we have Queen Debbie says, greetings, my beautiful Boron ecosystem. Greetings right back to you too, Queen Debbie. We have, my Uncle George says, greetings to Steve, Queen Mama, and the Boron community. Trump was viewed as salvation to crypto success, but his tariffs are delaying Boron. I'm glad senators have negated his executive orders. The entire situation, like you rightly said, Uncle George, has been causing delays. Like we are really outside of the 4-year cycles, obviously now. And this cycle is literally different. We've been saying this, every cycle we've been saying is different. However, this cycle has proven to be literally very, very different. However, like we've been seeing, we have now a way more pro-crypto administration in the house. Also, what we need to understand is that the largest smart contract blockchain is Ethereum. And this needs more clarity. If you want to build an entire financial system on a brand new technology, it needs guidelines, it needs regulations, it needs clarity, it needs oversight, and this takes time. And infrastructures are also being built in the background, are being tested, and are being launched already, and they're ready to go. So patents are already put out, like a Bank of America CEO said already. We have infrastructures built, like we saw the likes of MasterCard, Visa, and all of them building on top of Ethereum. However, what's needed right now and what's delaying the whole process are clarity in terms of clear regulations and guidelines, just like Europeans have their MiCA, for example, right? Clear regulations, just like the Swiss already. They have clarity. This is why they can start launching Ethereum staking. They can launch all these various products. They can use the technology across the nation and so on and so forth, because they have clarity, they have the government's backing, and this is what's missing from the largest economy in the world, which happens to be the US. And also US dollar being the global reserve currency. So once they get to the level of other pro-crypto nations that are already far ahead and are not debating whether Ethereum is a security and staking is allowed or not, but already have rolled out all these products and have the backing of the government. This is what's being delayed right now. So rightly said, Uncle George. This is the link that I had put out so that you can tune in and look at the fully owned PostFinance bank, Swiss bank, that is offering staking, Ethereum staking. This King Abdullah says, that's good, Boran family. What's good, Boran family? Huge shout out to everyone joining today's YouTube live stream session. We are stoked to have you all here, vibing and learning together. Beautifully said, King Abdullah. We appreciate you very much for your positive energy, consistent enthusiasm that is so contagious, that is pushing all of us to be at our best. You're very much appreciated, and we appreciate your input today as well and participating in today's session. King Abdullah says, special thanks to the one and only King Steve for always dropping knowledge bombs that keep us ahead of the game. Your insights are invaluable, and we're grateful for your leadership. And then let's keep the energy high and the knowledge flowing. What's on your mind, family? Let's chat. Thank you so much for your energy, King Abdullahi. You're very much appreciated for all the engagements, stimulating us with your positive, contagious energy. and for always participating in all events and being so engaged on various platforms, on social platforms. You're very much appreciated. And we appreciate you very much for going above and beyond within the community. Queen Mother Winner herself is saying greetings to all our amazing family. There is great joy in joining together with other community members. Empowerment grows in the fertile soil of our community. Thanks, Steve, for another great session. Beautifully said, Mom. Very beautifully said. What we always need to understand is that the beautiful thing about the blockchain technology is the community. And we have the most amazing community. And we are always very humbled to be part of these sessions. And we all just chipping in to our best abilities, what we can do. We're just adding value to each other as as community members. And every single one of us here, even just by participating, engaging, that goes a long way. That's the best that we can do. Just engage and embrace each other and work together and get this. Take one day at a time and remain engaged, remain high energied, and be consistent, right? That's all we need right now. So thank you, Mom, for your enlightenment, and we appreciate you as well. You're literally leading by example. The way you are with the queens and the rest of the community. We appreciate you also very, very, very much. Then we have Queen Emily says, "Good evening, Brother Steve and Boran Ecosystem family, following closely." Thank you very much for participating again consistently, Queen Emily. It's always a pleasure to see you in the community. We hope that you are able to take away something from today's session. Queen Debbie says, "Boran staking platform to the world. Wow, congratulations, community. Third most staked token." Absolutely. These are milestones that we can really take pride in. We are a very humble community, and it's just rewarding to see that all our efforts are paying off, and to be able to be amongst blockchains in terms of percentage staked, in terms of staking. It's impressive to be the third most staked cryptocurrency in the entire industry. This is impressive. This is very impressive. So we appreciate you very much, Queen Debbie, for highlighting that again. Queen Waiga says, "Well tuned. Thanks, Mr. Steve. We appreciate your feedback as well. And thank you so much for your feedback, Queen Waiga. And we hope that you're able to take away something from today's session." Thank you. Queen Grace says, "Thank you, Steve, for always showing up to train us and keep us updated to the blockchain industry. We are forever grateful. More strength and health to you is my prayer for and Mama Wino." Thank you so much for your well wishes, your encouraging words, and we appreciate your leadership, your guidance, your consistency. We appreciate you very much. We need to let you know that we really appreciate you for all the efforts, all the inputs, and for just being yourself with your positive energy and all your contributions for the community. You are very, very much appreciated, Queen Grace. And then we have Queen Gloria says, "You're a blessing to us, King Steve. We really appreciate. You are a blessing to all of us as well, Queen Gloria, and we appreciate you just as much. Thank you for participating in today's event." Great Brother Theo says, "This was another fantastic, awesome session. Great General. Wow. Thank you for all your time and hard work that you put into these epic sessions and our community as a whole daily. We appreciate you. We appreciate you just as much, Great Brother Theo. We can't stress that enough for your participation as well." Then we have King Otieno says, "Inflation, inflation, inflation. Ecosystem rewarding their clients with native coins are doing injustice to the market." Beautifully said, King Otieno. This is our reality right now in the industry, and we should view these as opportunities, right? And see how we can find solutions to these. And the ones that will come out with solutions will be the ones that will be leading the industry tomorrow. So well said. BRL ecosystem is the best. Good fundamentals. Bravo. We appreciate that, and that's our aim as a community, to be at our best, right? To be consistent and to see how we can uplift each other on a daily basis and grow together as everyone is being given the opportunity to chip in to their best abilities. I see here as well, macro inflation ecosystem rewarding their client. Okay, we've read this also again. Thank you very much. And then we have Queen Connie says, thank you, Steve, our Moses of today. Let's use this. Thank you so much, Queen Connie. I appreciate you participating in today's community event. We really appreciate you as well. But it takes all of us, right? It takes you, Queen Connie. It takes every single one of us to participate to make this happen. I appreciate your well wishes, Queen Connie, and the rest of the community. We appreciate you for participating in today's event. We really are always looking forward to these events as they give us the opportunity to highlight and shed some light to our industry that we so care about and so passionate about, the blockchain industry, and also gives us the opportunity to highlight the challenges, how we are addressing these challenges we find ourselves facing in the industry, and how we are using the digital ledger technology or the blockchain technology to its fullest to address these challenges using mechanisms, tokenomics, smart contracts to address these. And then we take our time on a daily, weekly, monthly, throughout the year basis to educate the community, to uplift each other, and be level-headed so that we can cancel and mute all the noise that we are faced with on a daily basis in the industry. Let's look at the big picture, community. Let's understand that there's a difference between the technology itself and the asset itself. Like we made an example between the internet and now Ethereum, for example. Why are we stressing on Ethereum? Because it is by far the largest layer one proof of stake blockchain by far, and it's the most liquid. It has the most real world assets on it. It has the most stable coins on it, and it is the one with the most native applications, the largest applications in the industry, such as Uniswap, Aave, and so on and so forth, right? With that said, community, I want to wish us all a wonderful rest of the week. And for the Queens, I want to wish you a wonderful session tomorrow being Friday. And for the rest of the community, I look forward to another session together on Saturday when we are on Twitter Space. With that said, community, you all very much appreciated. Your comments and your well wishes go a long way. Let's stay safe. Let's stay consistent. And hopefully we have something to take away from today that will keep us level-headed and looking forward with much anticipation and confidence. Bye-bye, community. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Till we meet again. Have a good day.